Hello and welcome to Match Officials Mic'd Up, the show that brings you exclusive audio behind some of the key refereeing decisions in the Premier League. As always, I'm joined by Howard Webb, the Chief Refereeing Officer at PGMOL. But before we get started, here's a quick reminder of who you'll be hearing from in today's clips. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see subtitles from the officials in the VAR booth. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the on-field officials. It's important to note that the referee does not hear everything that is said, but when the VAR is speaking directly to the referee, the VAR subtitle graphic will turn green. Well, there's only one place to start. A huge moment at the London Stadium on Sunday. West Ham's disallowed goal against Arsenal. Let's take a listen.
Possible foul on keeper. Watch has gone.
Goal given.
I don't see any foul on field decision is goal.
Checking the on-field decision of goal. Okay, let's play through. Yeah, let's play through. Let's just get a feel now. So the keeper there. Then it's just the shot. So it's literally just possible foul on Raya. What I'm seeing in terms of that.
Yeah, and to make sure he doesn't have it in his hand.
Okay.
So can we break it down?
Let's get a tight triangle on the goalkeeper, please. Home goal on the Arsenal goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this one. Slow it down frame by frame. For me, there is a foul, potential foul with the arm. His hand is holding his arm down. That's impactful for me. The left arm there is holding, is across the body, is across the head, and he's holding the left arm of Raya there, which impedes his ability to get to the ball properly. Does it look that impactful from that angle?
I've got a poll cam.
I know.
Give us a poll cam.
It's like Raya goes. Because that contact that we've got there, we've got...
Just keep delaying, checking possible foul on the goalkeeper.
He's got that straight behind him as well, look.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the original angle.
Yeah, this happens before.
Do you want to see it at full speed?
Yes, please. Is it impactful on the goalkeeper? That for me. Go back to the second angle you showed me.
No problem.
The second angle.
No problem. Just going to look now. Okay, so back to this.
Can you do a split screen on both?
This one here. This one. Yeah, get a split screen. That one, and then the first angle.
Okay. Goal line?
No. No, the third. Sorry, this one and this one. Thank you.
Because I don't like Trossard not facing the ball, and you've got it's. Yeah. I agree, it's impactful. It's just everything else that's going on as well. So let's say we're saying that's a foul, then what we're saying about Trossard's actions on the same player, and what we're saying about Declan Rice behind.
So, he still gets the hand to the ball, doesn't he? And he's getting to the ball.
What's your initial opinions as you watch?
I think for me, we're sending for an on-field review to look at the possible foul on the goalkeeper, and then we're looking to look at the other incidents as well. I think that's the best decision in terms of this. Okay, Chris. Yes. I would recommend an on-field review for a possible foul on the goalkeeper, but there are some other incidents to look at while you're at the monitor as well.
Okay, I'm from here. We see.
So we're happy with that.
So I'm going to show you, going to show you possible foul on the goalkeeper.
This angle?
Okay.
The left arm of Pablo comes across Raya.
I'm just going to come down.
The left arm of Raya as he goes to win the ball.
Yeah, number 19.
Which I'm showing you that now. Yeah,
but then
I can see the clear holding on him across. Miles.
Yeah, but then I'm just going to show you some obviously other angles on just that incident of players.
I'll flip to the other angle.
You've got Declan Rice and you've got Trossard.
And then I can go out wide to goal line.
So the Trossard on Pablo. Just if you look at Trossard on Pablo, give me a better angle. I'll get you a better angle.
I don't think there's much in that at all. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
That's nothing. There's a lot of players behind, mate, so that's nothing.
And then if you just want to consider the actions of Declan Rice on Mavropanos at the back, but the foul happens on the goalkeeper before
it. So, after review, West Ham number... Hey, excuse me.
19.
You doesn't even touch him. Foul.
19.
Yeah. Just confirm his number again for me.
19. Yeah,
Okay.
confirmed.
Right. Mic open. After review, West Ham number 19 commits a foul on the goalkeeper. Final decision is direct free kick.
Wow, what a huge decision. Well, what's your overview to start with, and do you think that they got to the right decision in the end?
Yeah, hi, Michael. One of the great things about this show is that it gives us an opportunity to show the world the way that the officials work through these types of situations. An absolutely huge one in this case, as you say, allows people to hear the communications. It allows us to show the process that they're going through. It allows us to be really transparent, which is what we've always said we wanted to be. And you'll see that in this situation, that it takes a bit of time because they're going through a process pretty diligently because they really respect the game and they're aware, of course, of the size of this situation, of the importance of this situation. So is it a foul on the goalkeeper? Categorically, yes. We've said all season, including in pre-season briefings with the players, that if a goalkeeper is impeded by an opponent grabbing or holding their arms and therefore they can't do their job, they'll be penalised. We're not just talking about contact with goalkeepers, we're talking about a specific type of contact when the goalkeeper's arms or hands are being interfered with, stopping them doing their job. So when you see the best angle on this, you'll see that that's what happens from Pablo. And on the video, it's clear and it's obvious, and it happens early. And even though it's not clear and obvious to the referee because he's got a huge sort of group of players in a penalty area and it's difficult to see, when the VAR sees this, of course they have to get involved. But what we also hear the VAR doing is going through everything else because he wants to make sure that this is the only clear and obvious offence that needs intervening upon. Really impactful. Raya can't do what he would normally do in that situation, simply catch the ball or punch the ball, and they intervene and they come to the right decision. OK, you say there's other stuff to unpick. I don't know many people that don't think that's not a foul, so I agree. I think there's a foul on the goalkeeper. However, there are also multiple incidences in this situation. We're talking about Declan Rice, we're talking about Gabriel's got an arm, we're talking about Trossard here. On a different angle, you can see him grabbing. I mean, Declan Rice got two arms around. Why do you say, right, that's the decision we're going to go with, just the one on the goalkeeper? What about a penalty? Wasn't there any grabbing before that? Don't you take the first foul? Or how do you come to that situation and that decision? Yeah, it's a good question. We're in the Premier League and we know that not every contact is a foul. We consult all the time with the clubs, with the fan groups, with a range of other stakeholders about the type of game that they want to see and how they want us to officiate it. This season's been a little bit more unique than previous ones about the number of contacts in the penalty area. And it does create a challenge for the officials, but when they're trying to identify what should be penalised, they're looking for situations that are impactful. Situations happen differently. Sometimes the contact is lower than at other times. Sometimes it's right on the ball, sometimes it's away from the ball. We'll allow some form of contact. When I say they're looking for impactful contact, they're looking for mainly those situations which prevent the player from doing their job, moving, and particularly when that impacts their ability to play the ball. A key player in this moment, of course, is the goalkeeper. He's got a unique ability to use his hands. And in what we see in this situation, different to the other situations around the penalty area, is that the goalkeeper can't do that job because of that very clear action by the attacker, preventing him from putting his arm up. He is being held as well from behind by Todibo, but there's other bits and pieces of contact from other players, from Arsenal players too. But the most significant contact, undoubtedly, is that on the goalkeeper. Stops him from doing something pretty routine of catching the ball, the arms across the neck, it's on his arm. He can't put his arms up, and we've said that we'll penalise that. And we've been consistent in that particular aspect. We're not just talking about contacts of players coming together. So, therefore, that one stands out for me quite clearly. And it happens early in the sequence as well. There's not something else that happens much before that stands out either. So, therefore, when you look at that in the round, that's clearly the clear and obvious offence that needs penalising.
I think I'm speaking for a lot of people. I've been fed up this season of pushing, pulling, surrounding goalkeepers. Is this a problem that officials can stamp out by being stricter, more consistent? Or do you feel in the future, for the betterment of the game, that we're going to have to bring in a new rule here to stop this farce, in my opinion, that's gone on this season?
Maybe. We'll certainly continue consulting with all of the people I mentioned earlier about the type of game they want to see, because we have seen more involvement from set-piece coaches bringing players together in these areas, looking for those marginal gains. We'll continue consulting, but certainly we need to be vigilant. We need to identify those clear actions that are impactful. We've done better this year. We've penalised twice as many holding penalties than we did last year, but we've missed some as well. We've missed some holding situations. Not like this, though, where the goalkeeper's arms are being interfered with. This is different, and this is why this one is a clear offence. And a good use of VAR took some time. We have to take our time to get it right in this really important situation. We did, and you'll see this offence being identified. And rightly, the VAR recommended the referee look at the screen and looked at everything as well, not just that individual situation. They were diligent. They looked at the entire piece and were able to identify the offence that needed penalising.
Well, it certainly will be. That's how it leads the league table. 5 points is the difference between Arsenal and Manchester City. Now, City with that game in hand, still very much, of course, in Arsenal's hands. But that decision will be talked about for a long time. And guess what? That's exactly where we're going to begin. Because in the history of VAR, since it was introduced, that was its most important 4 minutes, 11 seconds, wasn't it?
A huge decision. I mean, I was watching it yesterday at home and I couldn't believe the length of time it took, but then you realise that the enormity of the situation. I mean, we're talking about the Premier League title potentially decided on that one decision, but not just the Premier League title potentially decided, West Ham's relegation fate as well. I mean, we saw the game, you saw the pressure and the intensity from both sides inside the stadium, and that just added to the moment. I mean, it was some moment.
Yeah, I was just behind the Arsenal substitutes at the time. So we'll come to that in a moment, but let's look at the actual football side of how we came to the 1-0. Before the goal, probably what we were saying on Sunday, it will go down as, if they go on to win the title, one of the most iconic goalkeeping saves from David Raya. That's what Paul will say. Fernandes, for you, from your point of view?
Big miss.
Big miss, OK.
Big miss.
There's David Raya's moment gone from Michael Owen.
More of a big miss than a great save.
Right,
in my opinion, I thought it was a real big miss.
Tell us why.
I'm going to tell you why, Steve. Right, let's have a look. There's a couple of big moments, of course, 3 big moments that we're going to look at. But let's just take this slowly. So Fernandes breaking through. Good move, actually, from West Ham. And I'll give you your moment in a minute, Robbo. But when he's taken that touch, I'm thinking straight away, you've got all of this room. You can just flick it with the outside of your foot. Lots of room, as I say. What he does is takes an extra touch, and then he almost opens his body up as if to give the goalkeeper the eyes, and then pulls it. Now, pulls it into this near post. Now, if you're going to give the goalkeeper the eyes, you've got to have space between yourself and the goalkeeper. When the goalkeeper's this far away, it doesn't matter what eyes I'm giving Robbo, he's just smothering the ball, he's just blocking the ball. So I can't understand why he takes his touch. Watch this now, he sort of runs around it as if he's going to open out, and then he just pulls it last minute. Now, that to me is a huge miss. We'll just go on to the other couple of angles, and then I'll give Robbo his turn and to eulogise over the goalkeeper. Here we go again. This gives us a good angle of the way he opens up and then he pulls it. There's no room in that near post. There's no room at all. He does the hard bit. He gets the big area in the far corner. So this is the good angle here. So if I sort of pause it when he's about to hit it, I mean, look, he's got all of this area, all of this is a goal. I mean, this is the biggest area in the world to hit, and he decides not to. He decides to go for a tight angle that's never there. Right, Robbo, I've had my rant.
But it's this
why
touch,
is it a good
isn't it?
save?
It's that touch
I'm
there
going to cue it up again for you, so you can have a go right the way through.
Yeah, it's that touch there that he doesn't need. He makes the goalkeeper's job easy. Like you say, if he's in that situation there and hits it before he has that last touch, takes the goalkeeper out of the game. But from the goalkeeper's point of view, him having that extra touch is absolutely perfect for him. Because you look at Raya's positioning, he reads the through ball, decides not to go, and his depth perception is excellent because he stays on his line. But giving him that extra touch, it then gives the goalkeeper an opportunity to turn what he's thinking, I'm going to have to make a save, into a block. Yeah. You watch, I wouldn't call this a save, this is a block, because you look at him, it's a position that you work on in training. You get that close to your goalkeeper coach and you practice that shape. There's an element of luck involved in that block, but it's well worked on, it's well trained over a period of time. But what he's done well is he's held his position in relation to his line, but he's been given that chance to make the save because the striker has that extra touch. But it's a brilliant stop. It really is a good stop.
And then 5 minutes later, Arsenal didn't look as though they were going to score. There was plenty of big calls from Mikel Arteta in this game, actually, but one was to introduce Ødegaard, who's not having his finest Arsenal season, but he played a big part in this goal.
He did. He had a couple of really good runs, a couple of lovely balls, Steve, as well. It was his pass, his assist for this goal. Obviously takes a bit of a deflection. And they were probing at this time, obviously having a lot of the possession, and you wondered whether it was ever going to happen, but the lovely weight of this ball tells Trossard, it sends a message to him that this is one that I'm telling you you're going to hit first time. If he smacks it at him quite hard, then Ødegaard knows, right, my mate's telling me that there's something around me, I've got to take a touch away from danger. But as it happens, he rolls it in just at the right pace to tell him, right, you're hitting this first time. It does take a deflection, impossible for the keeper, I guess.
He's made a difference, though, Ødegaard, didn't he? I mean, he made a difference yesterday, and I think he's starting to refine that form, what he had last season. I think he's missed it a little bit this season, obviously through injury and whatever the reason he's not been in the team, but I really do think he made a difference to that team yesterday.
Right then, the big moment, the big talking point. Good that we've got a goalkeeper in as well. Michael, you go first. Have they come to the correct decision? Is there any argument in your mind?
Wow. Yes, I think they've come to the correct decision. If let's put it on the other foot, if the goal had stood, I think there would have been everything. The world would have erupted.
Right.
As it was, because it was definitely a foul on the goalkeeper. I think there's 2% of the people in this world that think it wasn't a foul. So it was definitely a foul. I think the big question is, were the other situations, occurrences happening at the same time, were they fouls as well? Can you argue that it was a penalty? There was 3 or 4 Arsenal players holding on and grappling and grabbing, as we've seen a lot this season from them, some of the West Ham players. So let's just have a look. I mean, again, there's Trossard here not looking at the ball at all, grabbing. You've got Declan Rice, 2 hands around Mavropanos. There's others as well. Gabriel, we'll see on a different angle, pulling somebody back. There's so much going on at the same time. But I think the overriding one, Robbo, is what's happening to the goalkeeper, and it's hard to argue that it's not a foul.
I think the pushback today has been the fact that Arsenal have done this to teams all season. You know, you look at the chaos that they've caused through set plays, you look at the fouls that they've committed before, you know, deliveries have come into the box, and the melees that they've scored from this season. Actually, this is nothing different to what normally happens week in and week out. But when you see David Raya here, he's battling for position. He can't get any takeoff because, one, his shirt's been grabbed. Todibo grabbing his shirt, and then I mean, it's pick the bones out of that. It's everywhere. It's absolute chaos in the penalty box.
Well, it was
VAR,
4 minutes 11 seconds that Darren England took his time.
This is the angle for me. So we look at the arm that goes across the goalkeeper. I mean, look at that. That's before the ball's even reached the penalty area. But you look at David Raya here on the right-hand side. You see the arm goes across him, but it's not the arm that's the thing. It's the hand on him there. You see the hand on him? That's the problem. Mikel Arteta straight away was on the touchline holding his hand like that, and a lot of people in the stadium thought he was appealing for handball because of all what was going on. He's not. His goalkeeper has had his hand pulled down. So David Raya, yes, his footwork and his attacking line to the ball was not ideal. He couldn't get any spring because the body's around him. He didn't give himself a big enough run-up at the ball. But when he does get there, he's prevented the chance of making the attempt to catch it. One, because his arm's across him, but the biggest reason that was disallowed is because of the hand on his left arm pulls the goalkeeper's arm away.
I think if you look at this season, this clip actually, in many ways, summarises the season. You know, Arsenal probably going on to win the league, lots of set-piece goals. They've done this to a lot of other teams. Blocking, grappling, inconsistencies with what's a foul, what isn't a foul. I think it's taken the shine slightly off this season, this very incident and this type of incident. And I think...
Is there anything that needs doing about it? Is there a rule that needs to be introduced?
That's the question. The authorities have got to think very carefully over the summer and think, right, are we just going to crack down even harder, because they'll say that they've double the amount of fouls for shirt pulling, for grappling, for these types of things this season. they're going to either have to crack down even harder, or they're going to have to bring a rule change in, because
Such as what?
I don't think people want to see this.
No.
This is almost
But what rule
scarred
change
the game.
could you bring in?
Well, there's been lots of things suggested. One of the interesting ones would be that there's no attacking players allowed in the 6-yard box before the ball is kicked. Now, we have that on goal kicks. Attacking players aren't allowed in the penalty box. You can still end up in the 6-yard box, of course you can, but it would prevent all this surrounding of a goalkeeper.
Would it?
Well, it has to, because you're not allowed in the 6-yard box before it's kicked. Now, we've got to think, the authorities have got to think these through really, really, really carefully. A lot of the time when we bring a new rule in, then we don't know what's going to happen after, and people will take advantage of certain scenarios. My personal preference would probably be to just police it really, really strictly.
Listen, if you police it really strictly in the first 2 weeks of the season, you give 4 penalties in the first 2 weeks of the season, send 2 players off, give 4 penalties, believe me, it stops very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. I think they've been very consistent on this type of thing, where I'm preventing a goalkeeper from lifting his arms up. I think that's been quite a consistent thing, but they haven't been consistent on the grabbing, the grappling, the pulling down, the Declan Rice situation here. 2 arms around the defender. I think that's got to change. They've got to get stricter on that.
And before the ball's kicked, they don't give anything. They go in and they speak to the players.
Yeah.
They say, right, stop grappling, get away from each other. Once the ball's in play, once the ball's active, that's when they can give free kicks, penalties, fouls, whatever they want to do. But we're seeing the referees not have the power to give anything because the ball's not in play. But surely there's other rules. If things happen within the stadium, within the pitch, after the final whistle's blown, we've seen players sent off, we've seen managers sent off. So maybe that rule's got to change.
Interesting. Much more chat on that one to come. Well then, let's look what's left. City, of course, as I mentioned, on Wednesday, at home to Palace. Then they play the FA Cup final. They go to Bournemouth, Villa at home. Burnley and Palace, that's it now in the Premier League for Arsenal, with that advantage that they have at the moment. And, of course, they are 3 games away from ultimate history. There's only 3 teams ever that have won the Premier League and the Champions League in the same season, and they are still in the running to do that. Do they have a hand on the trophy now, do you think?
Yeah. That was a big result for them yesterday. Big result for them yesterday. Burnley at home, no disrespect to the teams that we're going to talk about. I mean, Burnley, they found a performance this weekend against Aston Villa. They played really well, but you can't see them going to the Emirates and getting anything. And then you would think if they win that game, the Crystal Palace game takes care of itself. That's provided that Manchester City have won their games.
Michael?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to need to win both, though. Manchester City, I think they'll beat Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace have got a cup final, but nothing else to play for. Bournemouth away, they're going to have to win that.
That's a difficult game.
That's the most difficult one. And then again, Aston Villa at home. I think they'll beat anybody at home at the moment, to be honest. So I do think that Arsenal need the 6 points, but I do think they'll get them.
Well, joining me this evening, Clinton Morrison, good to have you here. You feeling okay?
Yeah, good, right.
You had a tooth out today, didn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't just a tooth, it was a wisdom tooth.
Okay.
But all good.
But he's still got his wisdom. OK, now, we're going to start with an interview with the player who saw a 96th-minute equaliser ruled out in what will always be remembered as one of the most dramatic and controversial moments in Premier League history. Callum Wilson has now reflected on that moment that he saw a vital point in West Ham's battle to stay in the division wiped out, his interpretation and the development of VAR in the game, and also what now for the club.
It's obviously frustrating, but for me, if it's against us, are you saying it's a foul? Possibly, but of course there's incidents that have happened throughout the season that are similar. I just think if there's consistency, then there's probably no complaints from anybody, and I think with that specific incident, 5 seconds before it, 10 seconds before it, there's obviously other fouls that are in there. So if you're going to pull up one, you have to pull up all of them, really. I think probably should have just let it carry on and see itself out and just think it's handbags in the box. And
in your opinion, do you think it should have stood?
I'm going to say yes, because obviously I scored the goal for one, but I think for two, we see a lot of teams nowadays doing this similar situation in the box, blocking goalkeepers. We actually obviously analysed set pieces before matches, so we analysed Arsenal's, and there was a lot of that going on in there, and that's not just to say they do it, everybody does it. If Trossard's facing the ball and it's a genuine challenge, and if you talk about Pablo's hand on the goalkeeper as an isolated incident, of course it's a foul. But if you look at Trossard not even facing the ball, pushing him, Gabriel pulling his shirt, he's going to have to stop himself from falling somehow, whether that's putting his arm out and then trying to hold on to something, which unfortunately was the goalkeeper's arm. If that was another player, and it stops them from jumping up to head the ball, it's not going to get given as a foul. So should he have kept his arm on him? Like I say, probably not. But if that's a foul, then Trossard before it is a foul, because, like I say, they come round and if you're not even looking at the ball. Beginning of the season, we all have Premier League referees come in, speak to us about the new rule changes and what's going to be allowed, what's going to be punishable this season. And, you know, in pre-season there's no two hands on the players. You know, before it was one hand, okay, no problem. If you put two hands on a player, it was going to be given as a penalty, and the attackers then get the benefit of the doubt. But for the first month we see that and it's punished, but then after that it just kind of fizzles out and then reverts back to type. So that's probably the frustration there.
So what did you make of them, what Wilson said there?
No, I understand what he's saying. His frustration from Callum Wilson, but he knows it's a foul. Pablo does foul David Raya, but it's all the incidents beforehand. And that's something that VAR, they have to look at next season. And I know a lot of people say, oh, Arsenal have got away with it, with what they do during the season of doing that. That's not down to Arsenal. If Arsenal can get away with it, you're going to get away with it with how they're scoring goals and how they're defending set pieces. That's down to VAR to have a look and the referees to have a look and say, if you keep pulling, you're going to have to start giving penalties. And when you speak to the teams, which you do at the start of each season, that's something that needs to relay. If that's what's going to be, and then you relay to the players that any grappling in the box is going to be a penalty. But it's the consistency, Bella, and I think that's the frustration. But the foul by Pablo on David Raya is 100% a foul, regardless of everyone who maybe don't want Arsenal to win the Premier League. It is a foul.
So that was clear and obvious for you.
Yeah, of course, right? It was. It's a foul.
So the foul on Raya is the consensus, but that interpretation that it was the most crucial of all the fouls going on in the box is what seems to have got everyone debating.
Yeah, because there's fouls beforehand. Like, you can see there, he's not looking at the ball, Trossard. You can't defend like that. You have to look at the ball. What is he doing? Like, he's not looking at the ball, so he's there holding Pablo. And so that's one where VAR, probably Darren England, did have a look at it. And then you've got the Declan Rice incident, but I think Declan's only holding him just before Pablo makes the contact, Mavropanos, and that's why Declan Rice ends up in the goal, because he's holding Mavropanos. So there's a lot going on. But I do believe, credit to Darren England, in the end, he makes the right decision. And it was a big call. We scrutinise the referees and we have a go at the referees. He makes the biggest call. It was big for Tottenham, it was big for West Ham, it's big for Man City, it's big for Arsenal. These are big calls, and they decide it's a big factor in the title race, and it could have been in relegation. And I think in the end they get the right call. I think West Ham's fans' frustration would be what happens before, all the incidents before that. And that's something the referees have to have a look at for next season. And if Howard Webb is still there, he needs to, explain to people, because that is frustrating. And you knew straight away, as soon as he went over to the monitor, he was going to change his mind. And David Raya, by a player's reaction, as soon as the ball went in, he went round the referee, and you knew by his reaction that he had been fouled, so you knew the goal was going to be disallowed. So credit to the VAR. We are critical of them, but Darren England made the right decision, so huge credit must go to him.
Well, as you say, look, massive decision with implications at the top, the bottom of the table. So many different clubs holding their breath, waiting to see what happened there. Do we want to see titles and relegations effectively decided upon things like the suspense of VAR?
No, we don't, but I wanted to see where someone beats two players and bends it into the top corner. It's a fantastic goal. But that is why VAR was brought in, to decide big moments and get it right. They haven't always got it right this season, but the big call they had to make at the right time was the big call. You can even probably go and speak to Pep Guardiola and all the other managers, and they'll say it was the right call. Even though he might be disappointed with the call, it was the right call. Pablo, your arms up. I do think they get protected too much, goalkeepers, even when I was playing and you're standing on them. They'll argue against that, they're not. But that was my position where Pablo was on the goalkeeper. But as soon as you raise your arm like that and it's in his face, you can't raise your arms. Your arms have to be by your side and just try to stand there and stand strong. So credit to VAR. But no, it's not how we want it decided. And people are moaning about the time it took. I'd rather it take that long and you get the right decision. Because if you make the wrong call the Premier League's lost or someone gets relegated, that is on you. But credit to Darren England. I think he makes the right decision, so full credit to him.
And the time it took is testament to just how big a decision it was.
Yeah, don't rush it, because sometimes I think in VAR, they panic quite a lot in there. But he didn't rush it. He took his time, you know, and looked at it many a times and then relayed it to the referee, told him to go and have a look at the monitor, and they come to the right decision in the end. Even though a lot of people don't like it, because it's title race was super excited and it would have brought Man City back into it, which they still are in it, because Arsenal have to win their last 2 games, which I expect them to do. So Arsenal are the favourites at the moment, but they got the correct decision. So fair play to VAR. I can't believe I'm praising the referees and VAR. Where's Mike Dean when you need him?
Arsenal have confirmed Ben White has sustained a significant medial knee ligament injury, which rules him out for the remainder of the season. That leaves his participation in this summer's World Cup in major doubt as well. Now, the England fullback was forced off in the first half of Arsenal's win over West Ham on Super Sunday. This is a big blow to Mikel Arteta. White had started 4 of his last 5 league games at right back in the absence of the injured Jurrien Timber. So, Clinton, especially with the fact that Timber's out, this is going to be detrimental to Arsenal?
Yeah, maybe, but Mascherano can play there. And no disrespect, they're playing against Burnley and Palace, who have got a final 3 days later, one of my old teams. So, yeah, it's disappointing for Ben White, more so for the World Cup. I think Mascherano can come in there and do a good job. And Arsenal be hoping Timber's back pretty soon, because they've got the Champions League final and they need their best players back against PSG. But it's a huge blow for Ben White personally as well. Like, he's had a lot of injuries, and they're coming back from an injury, getting called back into the England squad, and maybe had the possibility of maybe going to the World Cup, because there's always quite a few injuries at right back with the likes of Reece James, Livramento. I know Reece James is back now and he'll be the number 1, so he probably would have gone there. So it will open the door up for someone else. So
could that someone be Trent?
I hope it is Trent. Well, if you're an England fan, you want it to be Trent, because I think Trent has been, it's took time to adjust at Real Madrid, but he's a super player. Maybe, you'll always have question marks of his defending, but his ability going forward, there's no one that can contain and do what Trent does. He's outstanding. I think Reece James is the full package, but Trent's passing, his delivery into the box is one of the best around. And I think it'd be crazy if England didn't take Trent to the World Cup. Now with the injuries they've probably got at right back, because we don't know whether Livramento is going to be fit or not.
OK, right, well, how will Manchester City's players react to that dramatic victory for Arsenal at West Ham? Well, they need to put it to one side, really, and remain in the hunt for the title by beating Crystal Palace tomorrow night. Asked about the scenes at the London Stadium, Pep Guardiola only had one response.
So how did it affect your mood when you saw the goal?
Crystal
given,
Palace.
Then not given?
Crystal Palace. What you cannot control is forget about it. It's to do better. What we have not done better this season, to arrive in better position to fight from the Premier League, that we are still fighting, and Crystal Palace. Important is tomorrow. Yeah. Then we'll see what happens to the next one. So always I learned, when you lose the focus, you are in dangerous situations.
Is every player kind of just pushing through that tiredness for the final few weeks?
Right now it's not tiredness, it's just last games of the season, and it's 1 week and few days, so a lot of games in this time, and next one is Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace's European final, they've still got to play. That's a few days after they play Arsenal on the last day of the season. Are you concerned at all that they may play a weakened team in that game? And if so, is that their right to do so?
They are so professional, the teams. Crystal Palace will play top against us. We saw Leeds yesterday against the Spurs, how even being out of the relegation battle, so they are in Premier League again, how they compete. We played here against Aston Villa in the past, West Ham, nothing to play, and it was how difficult it was, so I'm pretty sure they will do the best, knowing that, of course, they have the final 3 days later. Leave the managers do what they have to do. As much as less the Premier League is involved in all the decisions, will be better for all of us, so leave Oliver or the managers do what they have to do.
Where is the pressure now with results, how they've gone? Is it up here? Is it down there? Is there no pressure on you guys? Is it just a case of doing what you need to do?
The same one, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days ago, 1 week, 2 weeks, same one.
I get it. They say, focus is on the next game. That's just like single-minded. However, how much would that have hurt City?
Yeah, it would have hurt them, especially the late goal. And obviously, Pep and the Man City players, they say they're not watching. Everyone's going to be watching. Might not watch the whole game, but you'll watch bits and pieces of it. So how late they scored, and obviously it was a good play from Odegaard. I thought he'd come on and change the game, showed a bit of quality. And yeah, it's a deflection, and Trossard's in the right place at the right time. But there would have been more cheering, as I said earlier, when Fernandes had that chance, and he should have really scored. But brilliant save from David Raya. And they're finding ways at the moment, Arsenal. People say it's not the best, the way they're playing, but who cares? Like, they're finding ways how to win football matches. And this is the chance. This is the one. Hit it now. He takes that extra touch, and he closes up the space to him. If he hits it straight away, Fernandes, he scores because he just opens his body and finds the far corner. But as soon as you have that touch, it's difficult then, because credit to David Raya, spreads himself. He still can pass it into the back of the net, tries to give him the eyes, but what a big save. And he's made big saves at crucial times for them. But Pep's right, City got to keep going and keep believing. And obviously the Burnley game, Arsenal at home, not being disrespectful to Burnley, but you don't really expect Burnley to get anything. But you never know. Last game of the season against Palace, Pep's right. Palace will make changes, though, because they, first and foremost, they got the cup competition on the Wednesday. But Palace can't make too many changes because their squad's not big enough for that, Bella. So it's still going to be reasonable, a strong team. And can Arsenal get over the line? I still make Arsenal favourites. If Palace didn't have that cup final 3 days later, that would be a huge game, because everyone knows going to Selhurst Park is a hard place to go.
Do you think that City will keep this title challenge going right up until the final day?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll be too strong for Palace tomorrow. I think Bournemouth away is the tricky one. Bournemouth are in fantastic form. I always thought when I looked at the fixtures, it was Bournemouth and Everton that could be the stumbling block. But I think City will win all 3 of those games, because Aston Villa will have the Europa League final 3 days before that. And if they win it, they'll probably still be celebrating going into that game. So, but this guy, Doku's been outstanding, and he's kept them in the title race over previous weeks. He's been fantastic with some of the goals he scored. But they'll keep going, because that's how City knows. They're not going to give up the title until it's over, and I think they will take it to the last game of the season.
Well, look, City could go unbeaten in the league since January and not win the league. Yeah. How hard would that be to take?
Yeah, it'll be hard to take, but you've got to realise where they were at one stage in the season. Arsenal had an opportunity to go 12 points ahead, and everyone thought it was over then, and they didn't. And City have been outstanding to close the gap on them. I think the disappointing one will be the Everton game, where they had a crazy 13-minute spell, which probably could decide the title. But then in the end, you never know, that Doku goal at the end where they get the point could help them come the end of the season. You just never know, Bella. There's always twists and turns in this, you know. We've seen it many times when we sat here on a soccer Saturday and having to watch games, and you think Arsenal are easy going to win, and then they go a goal down, and then the time ticks on. So there's loads of twists and turns, and that's why Pep said it's not over until it's over. He's been there, seen it, and done it. Pressure's all on Arsenal, but I do make Arsenal the favourites to go on and win.
OK, well, the title